Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Take out of a literary work in order to cite or copy. A passage selected from a larger work. He presented excerpts from William James's philosophical writings. Obtain from a substance, as by mechanical action. Take out of a literary work in order to cite or copy. A passage selected from a larger work. A solution obtained by steeping or soaking a substance, usually in water. Remove, usually with some force or effort, also used in an abstract sense. Extract a bad tooth. Deduce, a principle, or construe, a meaning. Extract by the process of distillation. Calculate the root of a number. Get despite difficulties or obstacles. I extracted a promise from the dean for 2 new positions. Separate, a metal, from an ore. Take out of a literary work in order to cite or copy. Buy and consume food from a restaurant or establishment that sells prepared food. We'll take out pizza, since I am too tired to cook. Purchase prepared food to be eaten at home. Remove from its packing. Remove, usually with some force or effort, also used in an abstract sense. Take out a splinter. Take out or remove. Take out the chicken after adding the vegetables. Cause to leave. Bring, take, or pull out of a container or from under a cover. Make a date. Remove, a commodity, from a supply source. Prevent from being included or considered or accepted. Take liquid out of a container or well. Obtain by legal or official process. Take out a license. Remove something from a container or an enclosed space. A passage selected from a larger work. The person or thing chosen or selected. A natural process resulting in the evolution of organisms best adapted to the environment. A passage selected from a larger work. The act of choosing or selecting. An assortment of things from which a choice can be made. The store carried a large selection of shoes. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. Be capable of holding or containing. This box won't take all the items. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. Take the gun from your pocket. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. I don't take sugar in my coffee. Make a film or photograph of something. Take a scene. Be designed to hold or take. This surface will not take the dye. Require, time or space. Take somebody somewhere. Can you take me to the main entrance? Have sex with, archaic use. He had taken this woman when she was most vulnerable. Have with oneself, have on one's person. She always takes an umbrella. Receive or obtain regularly. We take the Times every day. Admit into a group or community. Head into a specified direction. Pick out, select, or choose from a number of alternatives. Take into consideration for exemplifying purposes. Assume, as of positions or roles. Interpret something in a certain way. Convey a particular meaning or impression. How should I take this message? Lay claim to, as of an idea. Accept or undergo, often unwillingly. Make use of or accept for some purpose. Take a risk. Take something or somebody with oneself somewhere. Engage for service under a term of contract. Shall we take a guide in Rome? Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. Take as an undesirable consequence of some event or state of affairs. Get into one's hands, take physically. Can you take this bag, please? Require as useful, just, or proper. It takes nerve to do what she did. Occupy or take on. Receive willingly something given or offered. Be a student of a certain subject. Proceed along in a vehicle. Point or cause to go, blows, weapons, or objects such as photographic equipment, towards. Ascertain or determine by measuring, computing or take a reading from a dial. Take a pulse. Be seized or affected in a specified way. Take sick. Buy, select. I'll take a pound of that sausage. Carry out. Take action. Experience or feel or submit to. Obtain by winning. Winner takes all. Take by force. Take into one's possession. I'll take 3 salmon steaks. The act of photographing a scene or part of a scene without interruption. Travel or go by means of a certain kind of transportation, or a certain route. He takes the bus to work. Detect with the senses. Pick out, select, or choose from a number of alternatives. Pick out, select, or choose from a number of alternatives. She selected a pair of shoes from among the dozen the salesgirl had shown her. Selected or chosen for special qualifications. Of superior grade. Select peaches. Pick out, select, or choose from a number of alternatives. Select as an alternative over another. I always choose the fish over the meat courses in this restaurant. See fit or proper to act in a certain way. Decide to act in a certain way. The passing of a law by a legislative body. A bodily reaction of changing from one place or stage to another. The passage of air from the lungs. The act of passing from one state or place to the next. A journey usually by ship. The outward passage took 10 days. A short section of a musical composition. The motion of one object relative to another. A path or channel or duct through or along which something may pass. The nasal passages. The act of passing something to another person. A section of text, particularly a section of medium length. A way through or along which someone or something may pass. A collection of excerpts from a literary work. A selection of passages from different authors that is compiled as an aid in learning a language. A short note recognizing a source of information or of a quoted passage. The student's essay failed to list several important citations. A passage or expression that is quoted or cited. An official award, as for bravery or service, usually given as formal public statement. A summons that commands the appearance of a party at a proceeding. Law. The act of citing, as of spoken words or written passages or legal precedents, etc. Thoroughbred that won the Triple Crown in 1948. An excerpt cut from a newspaper or magazine. He searched through piles of letters and clippings. Cutting down to the desired size or shape. The act of clipping or snipping. The omission that is made when an editorial change shortens a written passage. Weed out unwanted or unnecessary things. We had to lose weight, so we cut the sugar from our diet. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. The employer wants to cut back health benefits. The act of penetrating or opening open with a sharp edge. His cut in the lining revealed the hidden jewels. Made neat and tidy by trimming. In baseball, a batter's attempt to hit a pitched ball. He took a vicious cut at the ball. Used of rates or prices, reduced usually sharply. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Cut bourbon. Cut and assemble the components of. Cut recording tape. Used of grass or vegetation, cut down with a hand implement or machine. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. The act of cutting something into parts. His cuts were skillful. Refuse to acknowledge. She cut him dead at the meeting. Turn sharply. Change direction abruptly. The car cut to the left at the intersection. Be able to manage or manage successfully. She could not cut the long days in the office. Mixed with water. Sold cut whiskey. A refusal to recognize someone you know. The act of shortening something by chopping off the ends. The barber gave him a good cut. Sports. A stroke that puts reverse spin on the ball. Cuts do not bother a good tennis player. Style and tailor in a certain fashion. Cut a dress. With parts removed. The drastically cut film. A wound made by cutting. He put a bandage over the cut. Create by duplicating data. Cut a disk. Cease, stop. Cut the noise. Cut off the testicles, of male animals such as horses. A piece of meat that has been cut from an animal carcass. Make out an issue. Cut a ticket. A trench resembling a furrow that was made by erosion or excavation. A remark capable of wounding mentally. The unkindest cut of all. Intentionally fail to attend. Cut class. A distinct selection of music from a recording or a compact disc. He played the first cut on the CD. The division of a deck of cards before dealing. He insisted that we give him the last cut before every deal. Of a male animal, having the testicles removed. A cut horse. Cause to stop operating by disengaging a switch. Cut the engine. A canal made by erosion or excavation. Allow incision or separation. This bread cuts easily. An unexcused absence from class. He was punished for taking too many cuts in his math class. A share of the profits. Everyone got a cut of the earnings. A step on some scale. He is a cut above the rest. Discharge from a group. The coach cut 2 players from the team. Dissolve by breaking down the fat of. Soap cuts grease. Divide a deck of cards at random into 2 parts to make selection difficult. Wane cut. Fashioned or shaped by cutting. A well-cut suit. Fell by sawing, hew. The Vietnamese cut a lot of timber while they occupied Cambodia. Film. An immediate transition from one shot to the next. The cut from the accident scene to the hospital seemed too abrupt. Form by probing, penetrating, or digging. Cut a hole. Form or shape by cutting or incising. Cut paper dolls. Function as a cutting instrument. This knife cuts well. Give the appearance or impression of. Cut a nice figure. Grow through the gums. The new tooth is cutting. Have a reducing effect. This cuts into my earnings. Have grow through the gums. The baby cut a tooth. Hit a ball with a spin so that it turns in the opposite direction. Cut a ping pong ball. Make an abrupt change of image or sound. Cut from one scene to another. Make an incision or separation. Cut along the dotted line. Make a recording of. Cut the songs. Move one's fist. His opponent cut upward toward his chin. Pass directly and often in haste. We cut through the neighbor's yard to get home sooner. Pass through or across. The boat cut the water. Penetrate injuriously. The glass from the shattered windshield cut into her forehead. Perform or carry out. Cut a caper. Reap or harvest. Cut grain. Record a performance on a medium. Cut a record. Separated into parts or laid open or penetrated with a sharp edge or instrument. The cut surface was modeled. Separate with or as if with an instrument. Shorten as if by severing the edges or ends of. Cut my hair. Stop filming. Cut a movie scene. The act of reducing the amount or number. The mayor proposed extensive cuts in the city budget. The style in which a garment is cut. A dress of traditional cut. Of pages of a book, having the folds of the leaves trimmed or slit. The cut pages of the book. An excerpt cut from a newspaper or magazine. The act of penetrating or opening open with a sharp edge. The activity of selecting the scenes to be shown and putting them together to create a film. The act of diluting something. The cutting of whiskey with water. The act of cutting something into parts. His cutting of the cake made a terrible mess. A part, sometimes a root or leaf or bud, removed from a plant to propagate a new plant through rooting or grafting. Of speech, harsh or hurtful in tone or character. Cutting remarks. The act of shortening something by chopping off the ends. Painful as if caused by a sharp instrument. A cutting wind. Removing parts from hard material to create a desired pattern or shape. The division of a deck of cards before dealing. The cutting of the cards soon became a ritual. Unpleasantly cold and damp. A piece cut off from the main part of something. A collection of excerpts from a literary work. An excerpt cut from a newspaper or magazine. An excerpt cut from a newspaper or magazine. An excerpt cut from a newspaper or magazine. A short note recognizing a source of information or of a quoted passage. A passage or expression that is quoted or cited. A statement of the current market price of a security or commodity. The practice of quoting from books or plays, etc. Since he lacks originality, he must rely on quotation. Refer to for illustration or proof. He said he could quote several instances of this behavior. A passage or expression that is quoted or cited. A punctuation mark used to attribute the enclosed text to someone else. Repeat a passage from. He quoted the Bible to her. Name the price of. Quote prices for cars. Put quote marks around. Any road or path affording passage, especially a rough one. Computer science. One of the circular magnetic paths on a magnetic disk that serve as a guide for writing and reading data. Travel across or pass over. Go after with the intent to catch. The act of participating in an athletic competition involving running on a track. An endless metal belt on which tracked vehicles move over the ground. A course over which races are run. Evidence pointing to a possible solution. A distinct selection of music from a recording or a compact disc. The title track of the album. A line or route along which something travels or moves. The track of an animal. A bar or pair of parallel bars of rolled steel making the railway along which railroad cars or other vehicles can roll. A groove on a phonograph recording. A pair of parallel rails providing a runway for wheels. Carry on the feet and deposit. Track mud into the house. Make tracks upon. Observe or plot the moving path of something. Track a missile. A short selection from the prophets read on every Sabbath in a Jewish synagogue following a reading from the Torah. A short selection from the prophets read on every Sabbath in a Jewish synagogue following a reading from the Torah. A short selection from the prophets read on every Sabbath in a Jewish synagogue following a reading from the Torah. A short selection from the prophets read on every Sabbath in a Jewish synagogue following a reading from the Torah.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.